Stuffing your fat face is a big part of life on any cruise ship. Sky Princess is no exception. And I ate so much that I'm kinda shocked there was anything left for the other 3,000 guests. Here, I'm going to deep dive every dining option so you know where the cool kids get their calories and where you will find dieter's remorse. Here, ladies and gentlemen, we go. Now, often I will steer clear of the buffet on embarkation day. I'm a delicate little flower, and the zombie-style feeding frenzy that is often found up there on day one, it's just overwhelming. But if I'm on board early and the beasts have yet to charge, you can rely on me to start the stampede. The World Fresh Marketplace was a big relief after last month's trip. The first thing I saw was a lovely lady telling people to wash their hands and giving them a squirt of alcohol gel if they were a bit too lazy. This made me happy.
Yay!
The second thing I saw was a grubby old peasant pretending that he had just washed his hands outside and refusing a squirt of hand gel. This made me sad. No, not sad. Incandescent with rage, vengeance and furious anger. It does get pretty busy at meal times, but I don't ever go to the buffet at meal times. But even then, it's manageable. It's a big old spot and the serving counters are big and spacious. They've gone with a little bit of form over function. The layout does look nice and it works okay. But the most efficient way to run a buffet is a massive double-sided counter straight down the middle with seating on either side. I'd have told Princess that when they were building it, but they didn't even ask me. There are a million channels that will show you endless slow-motion video of buffet food, so you can make do with this quick montage and search them out if you need more. Quality-wise, it's a step up from P&O, about even with what you'd expect from Cunard and below Celebrity, where, let's be honest, all of the cruise ship buffets live. It's perfectly decent, and if you can't find something to eat here, then you deserve to starve. I know a lot of people do like to eat in ship buffets on an evening, so just for them, Sky has a different theme every night, in addition to a good regular selection. The seafood and deli sections in particular are really good, and there is a specialty coffee station hidden in the middle, as well as the included coffee machines and some church hall coffee urns dotted around. But as buffets go, it's a good one, 7 out of 10. Of course, there's no late night offering in this buffet, so if you want late night snacks, and we all do, you are going to be dropping by the International Cafe on Deck 5. This is where you can get sandwiches, pastries, cakes, and a few hot snacks zapped in a merry chef, 24 hours a day. You can also get a large black Americano about once in every 5 or 6 times you order one. It's alright. It's hard to get excited about a microwave quiche, isn't it? 5 out of 10. There are 3 MDRs. There's Australia, which is the only one that I'm confident I'm pronouncing correctly, and that's where you'll go for breakfast and lunch, and the crazy people who choose anytime dining will have their dinner. Then there is Cello, I think, and Soleil, I think, for proper people who choose the early or late sitting. They all serve the same menu, and the selection up for grabs suited me just fine. When I asked for extra meat, by golly, they gave me extra meat. And in an incredible achievement for a cruise ship dining room, every dish landed on my table hot. Not warm, not good enough, hot. Which, if you've ever been on a cruise ship, you'll know deserves a round of applause. The French onion soup is a standout, and I had it on 3 separate occasions. A quirk of the Princess booking system meant that because I'd pre-booked speciality dining, I couldn't book an MDR table for the duration until after my last pay extra dinner. So I had 1 meal in Cello before being bumped to Soleil. Night 1 was a calamity, with nobody knowing where they were going, Not a single person listening to the staff who were trying to tell them, and the maitre d' was getting pretty stressed out. Thankfully, it did all settle down and it ran perfectly from night 2 onwards. Obviously, I've only got a sample of 2, but my data suggests that there will be 1 slightly UKIP guest on each shared dining table. The rest will be 50% fine and 50% interesting / lovely. In Cello, I met a Scottish couple who are on Sky for the 3rd year in a row, and they were treating the drinks package in a very Scottish way. A Jim Davidson fan? And a Colombian lady who I'm pretty sure was a spy. My table mates in Soleil were a couple of Middle Englanders who were nice enough, but we didn't share phone numbers, a Farage supporter from Hull, 2 Romanian sisters complete with Dracula accent who were really nice, and an older lady who was my BFF and her daughter who was very Hermione Norris-ish. A bit of chit-chat was had, no exciting revelations from any of them, and thankfully no political rants either. It was a good job I was there really, because I told some fascinating tales. The worst food in the MDR was better than I eat my real life, and the best food was good. Princess obviously have some aggressive performance monitoring in place, because the waiters and sommeliers really went in on the "can you give me good reviews?" to the extent that they had handwritten their names and positions on scraps of paper to give us like homemade business cards. Fortunately, the service was fantastic. 8 out of 10. Sky Princess has 2 speciality-ish restaurants. You do pay for them, but they're cheap. And they're included in the fare when you pick anything other than the most basic cruise-only deal. First up, Alfredo's Pizzeria. It's part of the atrium, but it's half separated with a glass wall, and that stops other guests from just wandering through. Fairly unremarkable as a venue, but nice on a sea day if you get a window seat. I'd narrowed down my choice to 2, and when the waiter dropped my root beer off, we brainstormed together and workshopped this thing, and we agreed that I should have the Cal Italia. And it was a good choice. There are only really 3 types of pizza. There's cheapo supermarket pizza, there's greasy takeaway pizza, and there's fancy pizza. Alfredo's is fancy pizza. It's good, probably the best chip pizza I've had. If you have a package and it's included, or you're a pizza connoisseur, then definitely go for it. I probably wouldn't pay extra for it. I was here at lunchtime and I didn't go for a dessert. I asked if they did coffee and the waiter sort of hesitated and then said, "Yeah." I only realised once I tasted the stuff he brought me that what he really meant was, "No, we don't do coffee." It wasn't the included coffee. It wasn't the speciality coffee. I don't know what the fluff it was. It tasted like very cheap instant coffee with twice boiled water, and even I could not drink it. I won't hold this hot black garbage against them. Alfredo's, 7 out of 10. The other speciality-ish venue is Ocean Terrace, which is a sushi bar. Now, the menu is for decoration purposes only. The only real choice you've got is take it or leave it. It's a set menu, edamame, which I have never really understood the point of, a seaweed salad with that awesome luminous green stuff in, and a platter of about 8 bits of sushi. The food was really good, and the staff in here were wicked. But during my meal, the very open plan did spoil it. There was just loads of noise coming from below. First from a hybrid quiz / Jenga between the officers and guests. Then a few hundred crew were just wheeled into the atrium. We were told to clap for them and then they were wheeled back out. Staff and food, 8 out of 10. Venue, overall experience, 5. Now, the proper speciality dining. Catch by Rudi is a seafood restaurant on deck 7. Again, open to the atrium but blocked off at each end so there's no traffic just wandering by whilst you're eating. Again, pretty unremarkable. If you like sitting in the atrium then you will like it. If you don't, then you won't. But none of that will matter either way once food appears. A French stick wrapped in a napkin didn't really do it for me, but a bit of cream cheese and some tomato salad was good. This is a lobster tail marinated in some ink with brandy cream and grapefruit, and it was incredible. I don't think that's just the free pretend champagne talking. I mean, I say free, but it would have been included in my package if I'd wanted it. For my main course, I had the incredibly pretentiously titled Incredible Journey, a shellfish platter on ice. It was a banger. I expected at the time that this would be the best meal I ate on board. It turned out to be the silver medalist. 9 out of 10. In real life, I will never order steak in a restaurant. I mean, even I can cook a good steak. And only proper losers would book into a dedicated steak restaurant. On night 3, I'd booked into the dedicated steak restaurant, Crown Grill. I didn't even look at the menu. I just asked my waiter pre-temp to give me whatever he recommended. I do that quite often, and I don't really know why. Obviously what they do is just walk into the kitchen and say to the chef, give this guy whatever we've got to get rid of. What they needed to get rid of on this occasion was a couple of big fat shrimps with some marinara style tomatoey sauce and a few leaves. There was only 2, so I got rid of them pretty quick. They were big and fat and fresh, and I liked them. It was a shame they didn't need to get rid of a few more. As we all know, ribeye is the best, so I was delighted when pre-temp plonked one down in front of me. I don't know how big it was, but it was about 10 times bigger than the sad, thin little thing that Iona flogged me last month. I asked for medium rare, and it was cooked medium rare. It was served up with a jacket potato that was stuffed with cheese and bacon bits, a few baby tomatoes and some asparagus. I don't really think it was worth £41.17 more than whatever was in the MDR that night, and it wasn't a classic that I'll be telling my grandchildren about. But it was a decent meal, the surroundings were nice, and pre-temp was a hero. Even though I skipped pudding, 7 out of 10. I was back in Crown Grill for pop-up speciality dining at the Crab Shack. Let's not fluff around, folks. This is the best dining I have had on any ship ever. Popcorn shrimp comes with 2 dips. It's chunky and meaty, and I liked it. A bread bowl of clam chowder comes next, which I'd prefer not to have shells in, and if you aren't supposed to eat the bowl, then why is it made out of bread? Doesn't really matter. They could have served it in a dirty toilet bowl, and I'd still have forgiven them. Because just look at this. This big old bucket of shellfish is supposed to be for 2 to share. But the main man pre-temp winked and said, "Leave it to me." And he brought me dinner for 2 for 1. If you want a proper seafood deep dive, then take a look at the separate Crab Shack review. This should have been $110 to cover 2 people, or at the very least $55 to cover me. But they didn't charge me at all. The best food I've ever had on the water for free. 10 out of 10. Sabatini's is the Italian restaurant. It's down on deck 5 and it's right next to customer services, so you've got to assume that they are pretty confident they're not going to get any complaints. Their surroundings are fine, it's a bugger Italian restaurant. The view could have been better, but I can't really blame them for that. I don't really know what the oil is for when they bring you olive oil and balsamic vinegar to dunk your bread in. I love bread that's black with vinegar though, and they top the balsamic up twice. You get a couple of risotto balls and tomato sauce, and that's fine. I went for a seafood stew to start, and don't get me wrong, it was an absolute banger. But I don't work here. Why am I shelling the mussels and peeling the shrimp? In case there was any last scraps of doubt lingering over what a basic witch I am, I followed that with lasagna. It looked a bit weird. A bit like a big fried cheesy tumour. Maybe I'm just used to microwave lasagna that comes in big square chunks. Whatever, it was meaty and cheesy and tomatoey and good. I would recommend it to a friend. If I had one. As we all know, there is only one acceptable dessert in any Italian restaurant: tiramisu. Now, I did enjoy this. It was creamy and unhealthy enough that I could feel my chest getting tighter with every bite. But it wasn't tiramisu. Not a proper one anyway. It didn't taste of coffee, it didn't taste of any type of alcohol, and it was too sloppy. The coffee was strong, and by now the view had improved. This place is also a $55 upcharge, which was £41.17 in real money. It's not unmissable, but it makes a better case for the extra dough than Crown Grill. Still, a 7 out of 10, but a stronger 7 than the steakhouse. Some people would just tack on the Poolside grill and bits and bobs at the end, like it's an afterthought and doesn't really matter. And those people would be right. The burger bar is alright, decent even. It isn't good enough to go there, it's where you'll get a quick bite when you're nearby. And it's called Salty Dog Grill. Yeah. At the other end of the same bar, you've got Slice. This is where cheapo supermarket style pizza comes from. The sort of thing you expect to be next to a swimming pool. There's a wee kiosk at the other end offering chocolate or vanilla whippy ice cream, and that is pretty rocking. And all the way back down on deck 5, there's gelato, where you can get gelato. I booked Princess Plus, so I could have had 2 sundaes every day. I had 1 in the whole week, and that was plenty. If they hadn't been included, then I would not pay extra for them. Afternoon tea is rubbish. The food is adequate, but the experience is horrible. There's no live music, they rush you in, sit you down, swarm you with sandwiches, cakes and scones all at once. They stick some tea in your cup and they kick you out. I was door to door in 21 minutes. I love afternoon tea, but even for me, this was a one and done. After 7 days, I saw and ate everything that Skye has to offer. I ate so much seafood that I doubt there is much left under the water. All things considered, this ship is doing a grand old job of bashing out the calories, and there are definitely more ships behind it than there are ahead. And if there really are plenty more fish in the sea, it should stay that way. Dining on Sky Princess. Done.